to look for the great opportunities. And we're in that macro summer transitioning to macro fall that will take us for the next 18 months. So there's pretty much nothing to do for the time being. Let the bets play out. Let the banana zone begin.
Banana zone, according to Raoul, the banana zone is that part of every crypto bull market where prices go wild, shooting up rapidly and creating massive gains for investors. But why does this happen? The banana zone is triggered by global central banks printing money and pumping liquidity into markets. This behavior isn't random, it's a well-established cycle of economic response to crises like the 2008 financial meltdown. Essentially, central banks will keep doing whatever it takes to into assets like crypto and to outperform other markets during these times. Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. We appreciate the support and hope you enjoy the video.
I can't show you guys that. But I showed him and he's like, oh my God, this is freaky. And then he comes back to me and says, my God, have you seen Notebook LLM? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I can't even get my head around it. And I think that's the same for all of us. And again, we've only just started some of this stuff. It's stupid. So anyway, that's enough of that. I think that's probably changed your life already, just in the small 25 minutes I've been chatting. And if it hasn't, then I don't know who you are. I don't even know how to use this yet. I don't even know the superpower. So if you guys are using any of these, if you stick in the chat how you're using them in ways that might surprise others, not in just the regular ways, but how you're getting some superpowers out, I think we'd all really, really benefit. And maybe at some stage, if we get a lot of you who really have found some superpowers, maybe David and I will interview you and you can show us some of what you're doing. Because again, this is really about all of us on this journey together. We're all trying to figure it out. So make sure you use the comment section, exchange ideas with each other and with me and David, because we are all learning, right? This is all new. I'm not a guide, a tutor who knows everything. I'm just figuring it out like you guys are and trying to give my observational ideas and put them into the framework that we've been building for our understanding. So talk about framework of understanding. The other big idea that I've been looking at is I'm sort of obsessed with this idea of left curve, right curve, mid curve. And I realize how easy it is to fall into the mid curve, particularly with technology. And I see mid curvers are arguing about, in fact, I'm going to find the page in GMI because I've got a nice little image that I want to show you, because this is definitely mid curve versus right curve, mid curve versus left curve, right curve. And I'm going to talk about another one that I actually wrote about in GMI as well. So I'm giving you alpha that you shouldn't really have, but because I love you, you can have it. Models can't reason. They're just parroting words from the data. They can't analyze their biases. They're not even very good. Then it's like, well, solar's never going to scale. You don't need you need batteries. And what about the stuff that goes into solar and wind power? But that works. But we've got these wind turbines. So we all need nuclear, but nuclear, nobody wants to go to nuclear technology. Blah, 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 ad fucking nauseum, all day, all night, all the same stuff. And it was Elon who said something that he's brilliant at left and right. And he just said, the largest nuclear reactor we will ever need as a species is already in the sky. It's the sun. It's endless nuclear fission. So one of the mid-curve arguments is, well, density of energy source matters. Well, it does and it doesn't. It does because the sun is the densest energy form of all. It's just a bit further away. But what it creates is unbelievable abundance of energy. Okay, so maybe abundance is more important than density. That is the densest source. It literally is the largest nuclear reactor in our solar system. In fact, it's named after it. The solar system is named after that sun. So then Elon put out a tweet and he's like, once you understand the Kardashev scale, you realize that solar is going to scale to everything. And that was like, okay, what the fuck is the Kardashev scale? And when you look at it, it's what type of civilizations we are. Type 1 civilization is the In fact, I've probably got my ChatGPT note on this because it is a little bit complicated. Let me get to that. Kardashev scale. Okay, reading out from. I wonder if I can get chat to read it out. I don't know. Let's try. I don't know if it does actually. No, there is a way of getting it to read it out. But the Kardashev scale is a theoretical framework for measuring the technological advancement of a civilization based on its energy consumption capabilities. It was proposed by the Russian astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev in 1964. The scale is divided into 3 primary types, subsequent extensions suggesting additional levels. Type 1, planetary civilization. A Type 1 civilization can harness and utilize all the available energy resource of its home planet, including geothermal, solar, wind, and other forms of renewables and non-renewable. Energy output, approximately 10 to the power of 16, 10 to the power of 17 watts. Example, humanity is currently at about 0.7 on the Kardashev scale, as well as we're developing technologies. It's a logarithmic scale as well. So basically saying is that everything we ever need, we've got. And when Elon went through the numbers of, okay, what surface area of the world do we need to power the entire United States? It's like a small fraction of New Mexico or Arizona. And so you realize that when you go live in Elon's mind, you stop using the mid-curve, well, that can't be done, and what about batteries? And you go into if physics says it's possible, then it's doable. So then the rabbit hole I went down is, okay, what are the things in the way of this? Well, the solar panels and everything else are plummeting in price. They get more efficient over time. They're 20% efficiency. They'll get to 30%, 35% efficiency. Okay, that's good enough. Then it's like, well, how you distribute it. Well, storage, David and I have talked about this, distributed grids. Well, I can take the sun. Oh, that's the other mid-curve. It's like, well, the sun doesn't shine all day, or, well, there's sometimes when the sun doesn't shine at all. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. That's what batteries are for. Tesla's already solved that at small level, and they do stack, but that battery technology at larger municipality or business level, that's coming very soon. So the point being is the technology will come, and then you look at the pace of technological advancements of batteries, they're all exponential. The prices of everything are exponentially going lower. The scaling of the technologies is going exponential. Solar is the fastest growing of all energy sources in the world. I mean, it's vertical right now. And that's really happening in China and Europe. India's going vertical there as well. So what we're seeing is solar becoming what we all thought was, it's not really good enough. It can run my fan in my house, but it can't run my aircon. So, well, it can run my aircon, but at night it's not very good, and I need to sell it back to the grid and take from the grid to, well, I actually don't need the grid at all because I just use the Tesla battery and that balances my load. To Australia using massive Tesla power things to balance their entire grid for parts of Queensland. And you can see where this is going. And therefore, I kind of think that within all of this, yes, there was another argument on Twitter that I was looking at, which made the point valid, is solar, yes, can exist on its own. But really, if you hear what I said about the Kardashev scale, it talks about all of the resources. And obviously oil is one of them and gas is another. But the reality is this thing is way cheaper, solar. But solar can use thermo power. It can use wind, all of these things as buffers. So you carry robustness where solar is the largest part of it, and all of these others act as the buffers for whatever conditions threaten the solar condition or the distribution. If you use a distributed grid, then you don't need to rebuild the entire infrastructure. Yes, at some places you need a phenomenally powerful grid. Well, no shit. That's what Microsoft is doing with 3 Mile Island that David and I talked about. When you need massive energy, well, then you can build nuclear. And what they've done is actually rent nuclear from somebody else. But, as we bring the small nuclear stuff in, which everybody goes, oh, nuclear. And then when I go down that rabbit hole, you find out it's actually, we're still a lot of this stuff that hasn't been solved yet. But let's assume nuclear is part of it. The speed of which nuclear technology, I wonder if I can find that thing as well. That's another really interesting point for you guys. Let me get to this a bit further on. It's all in GMI. That's where all of, as I keep saying, that's where all of my kind of thinking comes from. Yeah. So here's a tweet. Consider the 600 plus gigawatts of solar the world will add this year. 600 gigawatts. It has the terawatt per hour generation of 150 nuclear plants. Okay, so people don't even understand the scale of solar. 150 nuclear plants. The world has 60 new nuclear plants in construction that may start in 5 or 10 years. Some start now, others later. Solar is building the generational output of all of them combined every 4 months.
Check out the link below if you buy and spend coins. Check Nexo Exchange, and I'll see you in the next one.